Many of us, especially in the West, in our culture, might be afraid of death, fear it, we don't want to think about it, we don't want to talk about it, and yet bringing death into our awareness has many, many benefits. Many benefits for ourselves, benefits for our loved ones, benefits in how we live, and benefits for how we die. This practice prepares us for the moment of our death so that we can be calm, we can have a sense of peace, not being scared and fearful when that moment arises, and in that way supporting ourselves and supporting our loved ones. The moment of death can also be, it is said to be, a liberative moment, a potentially liberative moment. So doing this practice is supreme training for that important moment of transitioning. However, this practice isn't just for liberation or potential of liberation in our moment of death. It really impacts the way we live here and now, how we show up for ourselves, how we show up for others, loved ones, people we don't know, people we have challenges with. Among the many benefits of this practice is our living according to our values. When we know time is short, when we know that our time in this body, in this life is finite, when we fully embrace finitude, we don't waste time when the scarcity of our time comes into the forefront of our consciousness. We don't waste time. We tend not to do the actions, the unskillful actions that cause us harm, cause other people harm. When we bring our finitude into our consciousness, and as Carlos Castaneda said, greet and hold death as an advisor on our shoulder all the time, the way we live our life changes. We live with more freedom, with more peace, with more ease, with more love, with more care, because we know there is nothing to hang on to. We are a traveler on this earth. This body is not mine. It's for rent. This life, it's for rent. So when we realize this, we live differently. We live more freely. We let go. We let go of our clinging, our sense of attachment to me, mine. It's all about me. It shifts our perspective. We can live with more freedom, with more generosity, with more kindness, more forgiveness. There's nothing to take with us. There's nothing to hang on to. So this practice is a liberating practice, just as the Buddha says. And it has the deathless as its fruit. And the deathless, what does the deathless mean? The deathless refers to Nibbana. It's another translation for Nibbana, freedom, liberation, awakening. So mindfulness of death practice is a liberating practice, leads to freedom in the way we live and in the moment, potentially in the moment that we die, the ultimate letting go. Mindfulness of death is a practice that the Buddha taught in many different discourses, and it's a practice that personally is very dear to my heart. The teaching that we will discuss today is Maranasati Sutta, and it is in Anguttara Nikaya 619. Maranasati, Marana means death, Sati means awareness or mindfulness, Maranasati, Mindfulness of Death Sutta. At the beginning of the Maranasati Sutta, the Buddha is said to address the monks thus. Monks, or practitioners, and we're all practitioners, when mindfulness of death is developed and cultivated, it's very fruitful and beneficial. It culminates in the deathless and ends with the deathless. But do you develop mindfulness of death? As I read, the Buddha asked the monks, so do you develop mindfulness of death? How do you develop mindfulness of death, knowing how important it is? So one monk raises their hand and says, oh yes, I develop mindfulness of death. I think, oh, if I'd only live for another day and night, I'd focus on the Buddha's instructions and I could really achieve a lot. That's how I develop mindfulness of death. And then another monk raises their hand and say, me too, I practice mindfulness of death. And the Buddha says, how? And they say, oh, if I'd only live for a day, then I'd focus on Buddha's instructions. Another one raises their hand and says, me too. I practice as if I'd only live as long as it takes to eat a meal of alms food. And then a third one raises their hand, oh, Buddha, I practice thinking only if I lived only as long as it takes to chew and swallow 4 or 5 morsels of food. A fourth one raises their hand and says, actually, the way I practice is if only I lived as long as it takes to chew and swallow 1 morsel of food. And then a fifth one raises their hand and says, I practice this too. Sir, the way I practice is maybe I'll only long enough to take 1 more bite, just 1 chew, 1 morsel of food, single mouthful. And then the last one, a sixth one in the story, raises their hand and says, Buddha, the way I practice is I might live only long enough to breathe out after breathing in, or breathe in after breathing out. That's how I practice mindfulness of death. And then the Buddha says, okay, practitioners, those of you who said I practice, that I may live, I think I'm going to live another day or night and I have time, and the one who said I may live another day, the one who said I may live to eat another meal, or the one who said 3 or 4 morsels of food. All of you are living heedlessly. All of you are living heedlessly. Those of you who are practicing, thinking that I might only live long enough to chew this bite of food, to eat this bite of food, or long enough, the duration of this in-breath, or the duration of this out-breath, that I might die after this in-breath or after this out-breath. You are practicing heedfully. So, as practitioners, how do we practice heedfully, diligently, the instructions of the Buddha? The invitation clearly is not to think, oh, I'll have time, I have another 24 hours, and this is not, I'll have another year, or I have another month, or I have another week. Heedlessly was considered, I have another day, another few bites of food. The way the Buddha is inviting, is telling us to practice, is to consider, I could die in this moment. I could die at the end of this in-breath, at the end of this out-breath, at the end of this bite of food, right here, right now. To bring death so close, intimately, into each breath, into this in-breath, this out-breath. So with this, I would like to lead a guided meditation for us to practice with these instructions. So I would like to invite you, if you wish, to close your eyes, if that's comfortable for you, to feel yourself sitting or lying down, whatever posture is comfortable for you. And feel yourself having a sense of integrity, a sense of uprightness, letting the body be relaxed, well-rooted, connected to this earth, to your sit bones, to your feet. Feeling your hands, and yet a sense of uprightness, dignity. And let us begin by bringing our awareness, our attention into this body. This long fathom body, breathing in this moment. Feeling the breath where it's comfortable for you, or in your abdomen. Feeling and sensing the life force moving through. This body is alive in this moment and breathing. Let's connect with the sense of aliveness in this body. Breathing, pulsating. This amazing piece of nature. Through this in-breath, through this out-breath. And after we connect with the living, pulsating, alive nature of this body, let us connect with the fact that this body too shall die. This body is nature. And it's not a mistake. It's not an aberration. It's not a problem. Death is a part of life. Everything that is born, everything dies. And this body too. Letting the awareness connect with the in-breath, with the out-breath. Settling, calming. And appreciating that death is so close. It's always close. I might only live as long as it takes to breathe in. That's all. Or I might live long enough that it takes to breathe out after breathing in. Death is so close and intimate. Can we bring it close and intimate? As a friend, as an advisor, to advise us, to support us as to how to live how to practice, how to be in this moment, attending to the Buddha's teachings on love, compassion, letting go, generosity. What if I only have the length of this in-breath to live? The length of this out-breath to live. Can we open our hearts and embrace, relax and embrace this truth of impermanence, this liberating truth of impermanence? Now, for some of us, this practice can bring up a sense of agitation. It's okay. You're not doing it wrong. If agitation arises, let yourself relax with the out-breath. Connect with the sensations in the body in a spacious way, relaxing, calming, making space for the agitation or for the fear that might have arisen. It's not a mistake. As we allow ourselves to make space and be with what is difficult arising in this moment, we expand our capacity for peace, to be with what is challenging. We extend our capacity. And we cultivate fearlessness, another synonym for Nibbana. So as you do this practice on your own, being with your breath, being with this body, and bringing in the contemplation that death is so close, I might only live as long as it takes to breathe, this in-breath or out-breath, or when you eat, at the end of this morsel of food, how do I want to live? How do I want to show up? How do I want to cultivate my heart and mind in this short flash that is our life? Remember that this practice of mindfulness of mortality is a liberating practice. It ends in the deathless, in Nibbana, in freedom, awakening. May you be free, may you have peace, may you have ease, not just for your sake, but for the sake of all those whose lives yours touches every day, directly and indirectly. May we live lives of service. May we be happy. May we all be free. Thank you for your kind attention.